It was the tail end of an era, the era of the dogs. Huskies, large creatures closely related to wolves. In harsh Antarctic environments, very literally man's best friend. First brought to the Antarctic in 1899, the last dogs on the continent were, unfortunately in my opinion, removed from Mawson Base in February 1994. In my year, 1976, 2 bases boasted working dogs. We were one of them. Our fortune was compounded by having as our dog trainer Lars Larsen, an experienced dog handler in Greenland. We had 2 teams of 7 or 8 dogs, and during the year Lars bred enough pups for at least another team for the following year. Those pups loved to play outside my office, often trying to sneak inside. From late August on, I often saddle the dogs with a partner for both short and long trips. In their excitement to be released from the chain, the dogs love taking off, and as you can plainly see, we were the experts. We all have hobbies, and they had theirs, fighting one another. This tended to create mayhem and a mad tangle of leads every time we took them out. Sometimes I hated those dogs, but as the year wore on, they grew to know me and actually followed my commands, well mostly, and I grew to love them. 3 times I journeyed to the large Auster Penguin Rookery. The first, in mid-August, was so hard going and cold I thought I was going to die. 2 quarrelsome dog teams, 4 people, and 2 days to cover just 30 miles, where lay a hut on Macy Island east of Mawson. I took 1 team with John, called Gloom, Tibbets, the Met Tech, Richard Cody, our esteemed cook, and Bruce Flint, one of the radio operators, took the other. On day 3 of our trip, we travelled beyond Macy, a further 5 miles to the Rookery, then back to Macy Island for the night. On day 4, we returned to Mawson. Auster, nestled on the sea ice beside many large, grounded icebergs, housed thousands of male emperor penguins, largest of all the penguins, clustered together, fighting extreme cold and wind, all while nursing newborn chicks on daddy's feet, topped by a roll of daddy fat providing protective shelter. I apologise for the bad focus, but my fingers were dropping off. The second journey, with Cole Graham, our electrician, Graham Ackerman, the glaciologist, and Dave Grant, one of the Met observers, though a mere 2 weeks later, was much more pleasant. Using the same 2 dog teams, this trip took 1 day to Macy and a few hours the following day to Auster. After only 17 days since my last visit, I was surprised at how much the emperor chicks had grown. The third trip to Auster, in early November, comprised just Gloom and me using 1 dog team. This was a dream trip. The weather was brilliant and the dogs were well behaved, or for Huskies anyway. By this time of year the chicks were too big to nest on Dad's feet, but this didn't stop them trying, because geometry was never a penguin's strong suit. During the trip back to Mawson we rested by a seal hole, whereupon a Weddell seal pup approached us to play. We accepted his, or possibly her, invitation. A minute later, Mum appeared, and she was not happy. There was a chase. We escaped her wrath and continued on our way home. Brilliant weather, firm ice, and 8 Huskies anxious to get back to the dog line and a feed all allowed Gloom and I to break the record between Macy Island and Mawson using the dogs to just 4 hours and 50 minutes. Yay for us. There's so much more to tell with each of these trips, and they do warrant their own story. I'll be forever grateful for the opportunity to work with these tough, mischievous and incredible animals, as does every Antarctic expeditioner that ever experienced a dog trip out of Mawson.